Okay, so Ghost Mountain's Apollon recently came out, and it marked the return of the most mythical member of Haunted Mound. And clearly, since he's been back, people have been enjoying the music. I mean, Apollon is already sitting at 200,000 streams or something like that. Obviously, it's a hit. Obviously, it's a song that people want to listen to. And obviously, it's a song that, you might want more information on, especially if you're a Ghost Mountain fan. And today I'm going to give you just that, because we're going to be going over the lore behind okay, listen to me. The lyrics are actually way more insightful than you might think. Not only for lore of Haunted Mound in general, but in terms of commentary on Greek mythology. Honestly, it's just a really interesting song, and I think that going over the lyrics would benefit the fans overall. If you're new here, which you probably are or are not, I don't know. I've done a couple Ghost Mountain videos recently, but yeah, drop a subscription either way, because I'm bringing you top quality. Who else is bringing content like this, bro? Honestly, this is gonna be a great video. We're gonna go over Apollon lyrics explained. This is gonna be like a genius breakdown, except from me, not Ghost Mountain. So yeah, let's start with let's just get into it. Okay, so Ghost Mountain obviously dropped Apollon, which, if you don't know, is the Greek god Apollo, though in the Greek culture they call him Apollon or Apollon sometimes. And he is one of the most important and certainly complex of the Olympian deities. He is the god of music, the god of the arts, the god of the sun, which we'll go over in the video actually. And his story is really interesting, but we'll get into that throughout the video, because Ghost Mountain's lyrics dive into the story in a beautiful, insightful, great way, honestly. So it starts with the lyric, "The Muses on the Mountain," which refers to the 9 daughters of Zeus and goddesses of the arts, actually. Arts, literature, and sciences, which includes music, and who are traditionally associated with mountains, actually, as the lyric says, such as Mount Helicon, Mount Parnassus. And these mountains were considered sacred to the Muses, and they were believed to reside there, where they inspired poets and musicians. So clearly there's some allusion to music throughout the song. He also says, "Marcia's in the garden by the tree where they skinned him alive." And this is a pretty straightforward lyric when you know the story of Greek mythology. It refers to the Greek story of Marsyas versus Apollo, which is again the name of the song, where after losing in a musical battle against Apollo, Marsyas was pinned against a tree and skinned alive for losing to Apollo. So it's possible that Ghost Mountain is saying he's won a musical battle. Maybe he's comparing himself to Apollo, and possibly him returning to music is him winning the musical battle that resulted in Marsyas being skinned alive. He follows it up with, "Don't waste away, why you looking back?" And given that the rest of the song has included allusions to Greek mythology, it's safe to assume that this lyric is about the legend of Orpheus and Eurydice. And Eurydice was Orpheus's wife, and she died, and Orpheus went down to the underworld to bring her back and used music to persuade Hades, the god of the underworld, to let him take her back to the surface. And he says, "Sure, Orpheus, take her, but only if you don't look back at her before you reach the surface." It was kind of like a test, I guess, of his will. Well, right when they were about to exit the underworld, he looked back like a idiot, and she vanished forever. He was never to see her again. And this might be symbolic of Ghost Mountain's own regrets. Maybe he wishes he'd stayed to pursue his musical career rather than putting on pause for years. Or maybe he's thinking, "Oh, I looked back on my career, and now this side of me is gone." There's more commentary on that later, honestly. It also says, "Fallen with the sun, but it's not enough." And like I mentioned, Apollo is the god of the sun, but I'll get into this later in the video. There's more sun allusions coming. In the chorus, he says, "I sang the song, now it's said and done." And not only is this a beautiful lyric, but it's a reference to the song he's singing right now. It's a reference to Apollon as a song, and he's returned to music in the Haunted Mound, and now it's said and done. It's over. He can never return to the normal life he was living. Then "keep a lyre and a bow like I'm Apollon," which is a reference to the song's title and talks about characteristics of the Greek god Apollo. He was known for holding a bow, which symbolized death and terror, and the lyre, which is a musical instrument that shared happiness and music, obviously. This showcases the duality of Apollo, a duality which Ghost Mountain, I guess, feels in his own life, stuck between his conventional goals of living a normal life, going to college, as well as his musical career, which makes the bow the normal life and the lyre his music, his Ghost Mountain persona. And the fact that he I mean, he says, keep a lyre and a bow. The fact that he keeps both of them might show that he is not fully committed to either path yet and is keeping one foot in, one foot out, which is actually a direct contrast to what Cemetery asked of him in the Masquerilla podcast, where he said, like, yo, Ghost Mountain, you need to be fully committed if you want to return to the Haunted Mound. But that's just an interpretation, and honestly, lyrics later in the song lead me to believe that either he changed his mind about not being fully committed, or I just misinterpreted this in the first place, but he said, Moray cut the line from my old noose. And so the Moray were three sisters who controlled the destiny of both mortals and gods. Basically, they were responsible for the life and death of every being, like the lifespan, how they were born, how they died. So yeah, there was three sisters, Clotho, who spun the thread of life, essentially bringing a person into existence by starting their life thread. Then there was Lachesis, who measured the thread, which determined the length of the life and like how the life was experienced, you know, like how it went. And then Atropos, who cut the thread, which would signify the end of a person's life or death. And Ghost Mountain saying, Moray cut the line from my old noose. Saying this basically means that now the death of his past self is complete, but they brought him back by cutting the line from his old noose, essentially reviving him from the dead and starting a new thread. It's interesting that he called it the old noose, though, and implies that he has, like I said, started a new life. And with this interpretation, it would cut out the idea from the last lyric that he isn't fully committed to the musical persona, because he's literally killed his old self on the noose. Because obviously if you cut someone from a noose, that means that they unalived themselves, okay? The next lyric was, does it feel right how he lived to you? And this is Ghost Mountain talking about the lifestyle of the Haunted Mound. Like, they do whippets and oxys and sleep on dirty mattresses in the butcher house. But nah, it's basically just like an old punk commune type of living situation, I feel like, where if anyone commits to helping the team and being there, then they can like enjoy the benefits of the living situation. It's real socialism if you think about it. But yeah, does that feel right to you? Let me know in the comments. I think that's what he's saying. Then there was, I've been reaching out, but you never knew. And here he is basically telling the fans that while they act like they know everything, they really don't. And he claims to have been reaching out to the Haunted Mound and Cemetery, but the fans just didn't know. And this is actually proven through a few things, such as him being spotted backstage at a show, as well as the now revealed information that he shot the music video for Cemetery's Wendigo. So yeah, he's been reaching out, he's been around them, but the fans didn't know. He also says, the green ray told by the sundown, which is another reference to the sun, which Apollo is the god of. And the sundown might be symbolic of a transition from the known to the unknown, or from life to death, because that's been a recurring theme throughout the song. And as Apollo is often involved in revealing divine will to mortals. So the green ray lyric could suggest like a mystical, fleeting moment where a deeper truth or fate is revealed. Like when the sun goes down, there's like this effect where a green ray or a green light is seen or something. And it's like a phenomenon, and perhaps something only the gods or fates could fully understand. Then he repeats the chorus and goes into the outro where he says, the time to build up is tearing me down, which is in reference to the feeling he had while being reconnected with Haunted Mound, but it not being known publicly. So he probably had music recorded, he had a plan on how he was going to roll it out, he was hanging out with the Haunted Mound guys, and he was going to return, but the fans didn't know. And he saw people were still asking him to come back after years of no music. He saw people were still begging for new music, and it tore him up because he had come back, but he just couldn't let anyone know. So the time to build up, like building up to the return, was tearing him down because he wanted to let everyone know, but he couldn't. He had to keep it a secret because that was all part of the mastermind plan, which I'm guessing was brought about by Cemetery. It just seems like something he would do. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the song is beautiful. I've probably listened to it like, I don't know, 100 times. I've watched the video maybe 30, 40 times since it's come out. Like, I'm addicted to it, honestly. And like, I mean, and dissecting the lyrics just makes you appreciate it even more because there's actually real thought and writing behind this song. And I hope the other Haunted Mound guys kind of follow this with their lyrical themes, because that does seem to be a bit of a lacking subject matter for them recently. But yeah, this Ghost Mountain song was beautiful. The lyrics are great. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, make sure to drop a comment, drop a like, and subscribe. And I appreciate all the support recently. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.